Welcome back to Fast and Fresh. My name is Fran and today we have a request for a vegetarian dish. So we're going to do a spinach and ricotta tart. Nice and easy. Takes about half an hour actually to make, and you can stick it in the oven when you get home from work. My ingredients will be some fresh ricotta, chopped onion, a little bit of diced up garlic there. Whoop, nearly slipped off. Here you go. Fresh bread has to be fresh. If it's dry, it won't fit into the pan the way I'm going to show you. So a lovely fresh loaf of bread, be wholemeal or multigrain, whatever you like. I'm going to white. Optional is some pine nuts that you can put over the top when you put it in the oven. Keep them raw. If you toast them, then they're going to get way too brown when you put it in the oven. And I think that's about it. Spinach. You have to have the spinach, of course. So the spinach I like, not plugging Coles here, but Coles do a really great spinach. So it's nature's. It's a lovely loose spinach. Instead of getting a block of frozen spinach, it comes out all lovely and crumbly, so it's much, much easier to handle. So that's our spinach. Okay, so let's get going. I've got my pan up. We'll do the pan again today because it's not too big and we can get that up to a nice fit. So I'll put a little slug of oil in again as usual. Just using a little bit of rice bran oil. Quite like cooking with that. I think I might have said it already. Into that, I'm going to throw my onion. So the onion will go in and we'll let that cook away a little bit. Doesn't need to cook too much. Just get it a little bit translucent while we get everything else ready. Now, while that's cooking, let me just say as well that we are lining our flan tin in bread. Bit unusual, but a lot of people don't make quiches, flans, tarts, or savoury things because they think, oh, I'm not going to make pastry, that's just way too hard. Phyllo's great as well, but that's very labour intensive as well. You know, you've got to do your butter on each sheet and then stuff it in. So bread is a really great option. Much, much less fat in it, and everyone's got a bit in the fridge as well, so it's a really good go-to. So this is cooking away, and I've got that nice and translucent. And it's not behaving. There you go. So that's coming up nicely. What I'll do now is I'll chip in the garlic. So we always put the garlic in after the onions so that it doesn't get too brown and bitter. So in goes our garlic, and then we just toss them. That sounded good. Toss them around. And we'll just put that to one side. And this is coming up quite nicely. It's starting to get a little translucent. It will continue cooking when I put in the spinach I'm about to do. So, 2 of these, and that's perfect amount. You need to, going to do a spinach tart. And as you can see, I'm going to use my hands here, but as you can see, it's lovely crumbly spinach. Really good. You don't have that great big block that's floating around in the bottom of the pan. So in goes this one. So that's our 2 packets of spinach. Put them in the bin. Now while that's cooking down, what we need when we're cooking this down is to make sure all the liquid is off it. You don't want any water left. The thing about this spinach is there's not too much water left on it anyway. So I'm just going to stir that around, but while that's happening, I'm going to show you what I do with my pan. So what I've got there is about a 23 centimetre pan. Mine's a little bit deeper, but everyone's got a quiche dish or you know, a ceramic one at home that they can use. I like to push through, then it doesn't get stuck. So I've cut my bread. Some of it I've cut into, I've taken all the crusts off and I've cut them into half. And by doing this, I can push them into the sides of the flan. And you can see what I mean when I say, and I do the side first. See what I mean when I talk about going into the side, you can push it in and it just sits there really nicely. There she is, it falls over, but there you go. But once you get them all around, we'll push these all around like that. And this is still cooking away, and just push them in. And that'll give you, this comes up really well. I really like this. So once I've done all of this around here, make that long actually. There. I do the sides first and then I fill the bottom up. because I just think it's easier than trying to have the sides going over the top of the base. I'm going to cut a little bit, do it like a little patchwork. If you feel that maybe you're not, one's a bit too small, just cut it for a little sake. Now I've got a couple of big ones. I'm just going to stuff them in. You'll see. I'm going to show it to you in a minute. I've got it like that. And I'm going to cut a half of one now to go in there. I'll cut him like that. And I'll stick him in there. Then I'll do another one either side. So what you see I've done now is I've got it all like that, and I'm going to cut 4 little triangles to go in those 4 holes. I'll get one piece like this, cut it into triangles, stuff it in there. So easy. So easy. You can get the kids to do this while you're cooking up the meal, actually. And there we have our base ready to go. Good. So I'll put him out of the way. I'm going to move that bread out of the way and move these. So this is cooked away really well now, and it is actually quite great. What I'll do now is I'm going to turn the whole thing off. You don't need to cook your ricotta, so we're going to, I'll do that. I'm going to turn it off like that. And I'll now add my ricotta, and I'll mix that around. While I'm mixing that around, I'll get some cheese organised, and we'll come back to you. Just going to mix that around. We'll be back in a few minutes. Okay, we're back. So I've mixed the ricotta through. One of the reasons I turn it off the heat is so that the mixture cools down a little bit, and I can then add my cheese, eggs, so we don't get scrambled eggs again, and seasoning, and that's pretty much it actually. So this is cooled down. I'm going to add half a cup of cheese, just cheddar cheese, so I'll just add that in there. Just throw it all in together at the moment. I'm going to put about a teaspoon of vegetable stock powder, and that gives it a lovely seasoning. Try to keep it vegetarian, but if you're not super vegetarian, you can use chicken stock if you like, but we'll keep it vegetarian. Then I've got 4 beaten eggs. So we've just got them nicely beaten up. We're going to pour them into it as well. So in go those. And then we do the big mixy. That's everything in. I'm going to stir that around, and that's pretty quick actually. Once you've got your mix all nice and smooth and stirred around, you just put it into your tin. So we're all good. And after that, I'm going to put something on top. This is purely optional, but I like to sprinkle some pine nuts on top, the ones I showed you, just raw pine nuts. Quite optional, they're darn expensive things, so you can put whatever you like on top, or you can just leave it quite plain. So that's looking good, I reckon. There we go. Just make sure it's well and truly all those big chunks of ricotta are mushed down. 4 eggs, and we are looking good. Okay, so here I have my pan. Now because I've used a push-through pan, I'm going to put it onto a tray, because otherwise sometimes you might pick it up and your finger goes underneath and whoop, there goes the tart's gone. So we've got this. I'm going to pour this into here. It's a bit of a heavy thing, this one. So in he goes. Oh, look at that side. And this should just fill one of these. A standard quiche tin, it should fill it quite nicely actually. Okay, we bang him down nice and tight. Make sure that gets right into all the edges. And you bang him down just like that. Good. Okay, with black. I'm just going to get a handful of these and I'm going to sprinkle them over the top. Just makes it a bit soft. And then this will now go into our oven, which we've preheated for last half hour or so. So it should be up to about 180 degrees. And you put it in for about 40 minutes, depending on your oven, they're all different. You'll find as it's cooking, once it's nearly cooked, it'll come up, it'll start to get all puffed and golden on top. Other than that, just leave it for the 40 minutes. All right, so we'll put this into our oven and we'll come back when it's fixed and finished. and show you what the final product looks like. Okay, with that, taken the tart out of the oven. It's been about 40 minutes, and it's popped on one side and not on the other, but that's okay. It's been cooked through. So what I'm going to do is I'll show you with this, especially for presentation, having that little push through makes it so easy to take out. So I'm going to push that through like that. I'll slip him onto the plate. Make sure Simon's gorgeous leaves don't fly off onto the floor. And that is your tart. So let's move that out of the way. And we've got that lovely, and there it goes onto the floor again. We've got this lovely tart here. And we'll cut a slice now so you can see what it looks like on the inside. So I'll just cut, and you can see how well that bread works as well. The other thing I should say is if you are gluten intolerant, there's some really soft gluten-free breads out. I know Helga's does one. I'm plugging all these different brands, but Helga's does a really good one. You could use that, and then this whole meal would be gluten intolerant, or gluten-free, should I say. So there's our little tart there. I'll just put him onto the plate. Let's move him over a little bit. And there we've got it. So you can see that. You can see the inside of it. And that's our spinach and ricotta tart. So have a go. See how you go with those tarts.